Hi there, my name is Casey Hutchinson. I'm the president of Empire Rubber and Supply Company, and this is my podcast, Belt Friends, where I talk to industry friends about what got them into this and their relationships and share stories of past and present and successes and all the fun stuff that comes with our industry. Today I'm joined by Vernon Smith, president of Universal Belting Resource, UBR, and former president of NIBA 2017. Welcome, Vernon.
Good. You researched it. Good for you.
I did. That's a valuable asset to your list. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today.
We're glad to be here.
With that, would you care to tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe your birthplace, education, family? What?
Sure. We were born and raised in the wonderful state of West Virginia. And my dad was a construction worker, and so throughout middle and high school, we moved around the country following the work. Always up until I was 15, though, I was in West Virginia, and that's always going to be home. We lived in Virginia a little bit, and then moved to southwestern Pennsylvania when I was a freshman in high school. I finished my 3 years of school there, and this is the interesting part, because if someone wrote it down, I would have said it would never happen. I was looking for a summer job, and there was a company up the road that worked on heavy black belting.
Here it goes.
And they got in a bind. They needed some help, and I was, I think, 17. Wasn't old enough to go anywhere into any of the plants, so I would hide under the seat or hide somewhere and sneak me into the plants. And I was the helper for splicing, repairing what we call heavy belt or black belt. Most of that was in coal mines, steel mills, power plants, in and around western Pennsylvania. But we traveled to the East Coast, we traveled south. I started in July of '69 with all the intentions of going to college. At the end of '69, I saw that I made a lot of money.
Yeah.
I made a lot of money, and I thought, okay, we'll do it another year and make more money and then go to school. And by the end of the next year, we were really flying. We had a great business going on. There was about 30 of us, and we were running everywhere and making an unbelievable amount of money. And, I just never took that lunge or that initiative because it kept growing. What I was doing, I sort of liked it. I liked solving problems. You go out and you got a whole coal mine shut down. You got 1,000 guys standing around, and you've got to fix it, right?
Yeah.
And so that was a challenge, and we did very well at it. We trained with a lot of factory people from B.F. Goodrich, at that time Goodyear. There was a company called Hewitt Robbins, which was Buffalo-based. And we do a lot of work for those guys and learned a lot. And so I kept doing that for 7 years.
Oh, wow. And that was black rubber splicing?
It was.
Not vulcanizing?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't tell a lot of people about that 7 years because it was a very, very hard 7 years. And it was a very, physically it was hard. I always say you always worked when everybody else played. So you had no weekends and all that. And then a friend of ours, we had a little place on the lake, came one Sunday and said, this company that makes conveyor belts moving from Switzerland to our town. And would you like to talk to him? And I said, yeah, I guess. And that led us to the Leader Company, which was I was the first American they hired. And we started in 1976 with Leader. 4 years later, we moved it to Carmichael's and went from myself, to, when we moved to Carmichael's, this was about 10 people, and it continued to grow. This company was sold, as a lot of companies are. I sat in the same chair and had 3 different ownerships. So we stayed with that group until 1990, the Amaral Group. And well, actually, it was after 1990, the Amaral bought, and then in 2003, I had an opportunity to go green again, start all over from scratch, and it's nice because, I would go home at night and tell my wife, actually today I think I might have had a chance to sell a piece of belt because you got so many other things going on, and the structure and the corporate things, and we just wanted to sell belt. That's all we wanted to do. And we started Charles Walker North America in Carmichael's. And we did that for 3 years. And at that time, we changed our vendors and changed the name from Charles Walker North America to UBR. And that was in January of 2006. So, and then we've been at UBR for today. So just celebrated 20 years at UBR, actually.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So it's been belting all the time, and I don't know if I can make it to school or not.
Well, the opportunity's still out there if you want it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, boy, you didn't blink and you found belting because it got right under your nails and you couldn't get it out.
It was the challenge of solving a problem, the challenge of fixing something, the challenge of doing, with the black belt, doing something in 8 hours that everybody thinks it'll take 12. With the lightweight belting, it was more the offering to, in our case, distribution. I mean, we focused on distribution from day one. We changed a lot of things. We never changed our marketing philosophy of distribution only. And, I'm 72 years old. You build a lot of relationships by maintaining that philosophy and not wavering from it. We might do something different, change a color or something or whatever, but we never changed that philosophy, and people respected that. And the biggest thing is people trusted us.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that you have to work your butt off every day to keep.
Right. Once you have their trust, boy, you can't let them down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a switch of gears for you. I mean, I starting in black rubber and working with that, and then you scratched the needle across the record and went with lightweight belting, and a different focus was that.
Opportunity?
Yeah.
Something I knew nothing about. The heavyweight belting was a very physical, strenuous job. I don't know anyone that could do it forever.
It's a young man's game.
It's a young man's game, and and the lightweight was interesting. I met the owner of the company, and he told me things about belting and I knew nothing about, and I thought, wow, this will be interesting. So
new level of problem solving. That's what I like about it.
It was good. It was good. I never look back on that. It's the best decision I ever made. Work related.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So that answered my next question of what got you in the industry, and how UBR got started. As that's grown, and because I'll be honest with you, in this conversation, it took a while for my business to seed with your business, and it happened through my Pasco location. And once I'd kind of garnered that information, it blossomed with us here in Portland too. That we really took off. We found out what you had to offer, how specialized it was, how it was just a very easy marriage to fall into, I'll be honest.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Again, we focused on distribution only, and if you look at our industry, there's very few, if any, who can really say, I only sell distribution. You can say, I sell distribution and a few OEMs, you can say this, but you can't say, I only sell distribution, and we did. We would not accept an order from anyone but a distributor. And it took a while for people to believe that. And I'll never forget at a NIBA meeting, and I overheard someone say, there's no one in this room that you can trust but UBR. And I thought, okay, it's working.
Yeah, no kidding.
So you stick to what you say, and you do what you say you're going to do. And then if you look at our product line, everything we did, we were tempted to do other things, but if they weren't distributor-oriented, we wouldn't do it. And then if my son was here, he would giggle, because I always tell everybody we really started growing when we learned to say no.
That's a hard lesson.
Yeah.
That's a hard lesson, but an important one.
I think so.
Yeah, because we kind of came upon this philosophy ourselves, maybe, gosh, it's been 8 or 9 years ago, but, you sell yourself short and you sell some of your staff short along the way if you raced every fire drill or, get invested in something that you really don't feel 100% that you can back up. And you could put yourself in a corner real quick if you don't say no, don't learn the lesson for yourself. Let them learn your value along the way.
And stress out a lot of co-employees. I mean, you put people in situations that they should never be put in because you didn't want to say no.
Yeah. No, I get all that. That makes a ton of sense. If you would, forgive me, I've gone through a couple interviews now, and I'm presumptuous that my crowd knows what all we do in belting. Would you briefly hit maybe on a few targets that UBR's belting is applied in?
Sure. Our largest industry is food and food related. We do a lot with baking, the Mondelez / Nabiscos of the world. We do a lot with craft and cheese, but mostly about 40% of what we do is food related. We also started expanding into insulation, the insulation manufacturer that makes the roll of insulation.
Okay.
That is a big market for us. There we partner with a distributor and work together to develop products and, take care of each other. He tells me what he needs, we make it, and all this. So that's been a great relationship. We do a lot of in the box folding, where you fold cartons like cereal boxes. Recycling has grown considerably in the last 5 years. So we as well do a lot in recycling, auto stamping, anywhere where you're stamping a product with a metal stamp and you're using sharp edges falling on the belt. So that's probably the bulk of the big business for us.
Yeah. I'm sure people are applying it in other ways that you may not know.
Yeah.
Wait, don't do that. Well, and you and I hit up on this going into this interview, and I've talked about in my earlier podcast, NIBA, the National Industrial Belting Association, of which you and I are both a part of. And the rewards thereof, you've been a part for many years, and you've climbed many rungs through those years. Would you care telling us about that? What got you into it?
Being a young guy from West Virginia that didn't know any better, when I went to my first 1 or 2 NIBAs, it was always interesting to me that the competitors who did everything they could to compete against each other were friends. And especially for 5 days, the 6 days at NIBA, they got along, they told jokes, they never took cheap shots at each other. And I thought, wow, you can really have a relationship with your competitor and yet do your business. And I thought, okay, I can do this is a game I want to learn how to play. And we did do that. We got to know our competitors. Our distributors, when you're in the distributor-only business, 90% of our business is at NIBA those 5 days. Those are the hardest working 5 days of UBR every year. If you do the job right, you're doing meetings, talking about product, you're entertaining, having dinners, you're doing all those things and capturing as much as you can with that captive audience.
Yeah, they're all swept together at the
They're
right
all
time.
right there.
Yeah, this is the convention we're speaking of NIBA every year.
And then you look at the guy you don't know and you say, holy mackerel, where'd this guy come from? And then you start working. So like I said, for UBR, NIBA was the busiest 5 days of the year for us. I had a good friend by the name of Galen Knight who got me involved in committee work. I thought, But now we had 2 more meetings a year on top of the convention, and I got to know 30 people, committee people, whatever, even better.
When did that begin for you, roughly?
Roughly, probably in the 1990s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we skipped a couple years and this and that. But, and I tell people this. You go to NIBA to sell your company and to generate an image of your company. And if anyone says, I just go to NIBA to have a good time, then they're wasting their company's money. You go to NIBA to gain knowledge or whatever. For us, it was to build relationships, enhance those relationships, and whatever we could. But it's a great time in a relaxed mode to listen to complaints. It's a great time. They're not as bad as 3 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon when he's all stressed out. And the other thing that I found is with those relationships, even those worst of worst problems are not near as bad. If you sit down and had a conversation in NIBA with the guy and you've got to know him, got to know his kids' names, got to talk about hunting, fishing, whatever it might be, a lot of those problems that we encounter on a daily, and we all have problems, are much, much easier to resolve and solve. And it all comes from building those relationships.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense to me because it's just a stinking conveyor belt. It's not always fluid. It's a problem. Sometimes problems occur, but getting to know the people and how you work those out together, that's huge.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it was very good for UBR. We were a very small company. We didn't have the advertising budgets. We didn't have the extra cash to do some of the things that the bigger players could do. So we used NIBA, and we used them. We really did. We went on committees so that my name was in the program every year. We went on executive teams so that everybody saw UBR, and we threw our name as any time and every time we could because we were there to generate better business and more business for our company. In process of that, we had a great time and built some relationships that still stand today with people who are not in the business.
Why can't we have a way to make it fun? Have fun while we're doing it.
It is, yeah. And as you said, at the end of the day, it's only a piece of belt. It's how you sell it and present it that makes the difference.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of colorful metaphors when people deliver that, but this is the truth. It's it's our kind of. You and I could have decided to be selling cardboard boxes or some other plight, but you're still trying to resolve issues and get to know people and network. Thank God for NIBA.
I think so.
Yeah.
I look at people and I think, why would you never belong to NIBA? Why would it? It makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, and even on my level in the distributor world, I mean, you said some of it. I mean, I'm talking to somebody who's got the same problems they need to resolve over in Alabama or over in Connecticut or, other different parts of the country that I'm not stepping on their toes by talking about how I might have won or lost this battle. And the same goes for them, that networking is very valuable, that you can bring something back to your people and learn some of their lessons, maybe not the hard way, but
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a big time reward. So you kept climbing rungs at NIBA. Yeah,
we did a couple committee chairs, and I think we made a mistake of taking it serious and did our job. So yeah, we had some influence on the organization. We did the membership for a while, and then we did the technical, which was just an ungodly amount of work. We implemented the training sessions that you see now. And all that. We did in-field training with some people. And then I turned down, I just didn't, I thought I was too busy to do the executive team thing. And I turned down 3 times. I remember when I finally said yes, I told my wife, I said, Frank Claney is going to be really mad at me. Because he'd asked me 3 times. Randy Morf asked me 3 times. Don Garner, all these people, and I just didn't think I had the time to do it. And I'll never remember, I called the owner of the company and said, they're asking me to do this, and I think I want to do it now. And he said, well, it better not affect the company. It better not affect the performance. I said, I think it'll help. And we got together with a group of 2 competitors who he and I one of them, we lived together for 4 years doing things and really got to know the inside. And what's interesting is we never got down into talking about anything that shared those so-called secrets. It was never that. It was always what's better for NIBA. Now, but you did get a feel of who you're dealing with, how they think. So 6 months from now, if you want to go sell him something, you got an idea of what you're up against. But it was a great bond. It was a great bond. And if you look at NIBA the first night or the night before, you'll see all of the guys, those guys hanging around, laughing and giggling. And it's usually about something we did that we shouldn't have done, or something my year we changed management teams.
The year you were president?
Yeah.
Oh,
and at the same time, we had a joint convention with PTDA.
I remember that.
And my executive team wasn't all for it, but I just thought we needed to do it, so we did. And it turned out to be, I think, a good move. And but no, that again is part of that relationship that just never, you can't replace that.
Yeah. And you'll have to explain to me, because I've witnessed it, and I'm not sure how it goes after, but once you've come to the peak of the mountain at NIBA and you've been president, then the next year it's just, thanks, Vernon, or how?
Yeah, somewhat. The next year, your only job is to pick the incoming team member for the executive committee.
Okay.
So, and that was, I took that serious.
Yeah.
Because I thought there were some people that shouldn't have been. So throughout the year, I gave everybody a list, and I said, here's the 4 guys I'm looking at. By the end of the year, it was down to 2, and that type of thing. So yeah, the past president, basically all you do is pick the next incoming executive. You work on a couple ad hoc committees here or there, but I will tell you this, after 5 years, you're ready to just say, let the kids take it.
Yeah.
You're ready. I mean, it's been a lot of stress, but to this day, there will be someone who will compliment what happened in that 3 or 4 year period.
Yeah.
So you did something good.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. Well, and then it keeps you networked, because you get a different bond and different levels, obviously.
Yes.
And yeah, a lot of work, but a lot of reward.
Yes, and yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, and I'm taking from it. I'm watching people grow in it. I'm watching your sons growing in it, and that's got to be. Maybe you might speak to that. Jimmy's been obviously a part of your business, and now he's taking on NIBA responsibilities and growing with that. What's that mean to you as his father and witnessing?
Well,
this?
it means I'm still working. If my son wasn't involved in the business, I'm rather sure I'd be retired. But as a lot of family-owned businesses or Jimmy came to us 12 years ago. He came with, I thought, a good experience. He worked at U.S. Steel for almost 3 years as a management guy, managing union guys 30, 40 years older than he was. I mean, he got thrown to the wolves the first day.
Wow.
And he had to learn the tricks, the ropes, and he had to get tough real quick. Then everything happened with the economy, and we were at the point that we was growing and we needed some help, and he wanted out of U.S. Steel because, like I said, that's when the layoffs started and all the bad stuff started. And he coming to UBR was, without a doubt the best thing that happened, because first and foremost, I had someone there that I could trust. And I'm telling you, every day was not good. There was a lot of close the door and shouting, but, he took it and bought into it. And then other people saw him buying into it, which made it better. He brought a young way of thinking to managing people, which was a big plus for us.
Yeah.
So watching him now, he's building the building. He's putting together a team that is unbelievable as far as experience and knowledge. We are a very, very dependable supplier to the industry. I like to tell people the most dependable. But also, we make sure that all of our people know that, not just the people that own it or the people that reads the financials, but everybody sitting on that desk knows who we are, but what we have to do to continue to do that. And Jimmy has just done a great job with it. So it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun just in watching him and all once, wow, I didn't think about that. Look what he did, that type of thing. So it's a great reward.
Good.
It's a great reward.
Well, you should be proud too.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
He is.
A 38-year-old kid.
Yeah, I'll call him a kid. That's cool. No, I appreciate what relationship I've certainly garnered with you, but Jimmy and I have had some time to network together and talk, and it's funny how they'll pick on us that we go to NIBA and you go to these splendid events and you guys are just hanging out at the pool goofing. Your son and I are hanging out at the pool goofing, but we're talking shopping in amongst our lives and families and what bonds we have and stuff like that. But also I get to brass tacks and say, hey, there's a spec that we always get from you, and if we didn't open a conversation or dialogue, whether it's at the pool or not, we wouldn't arrive at what's the best sell for you and the best use, or best use for you and best buy for me, and really help our cause together. And sometimes you need the pause button and network in those situations, wherever the situation may be, and work that out. And very valuable. I'm always trying to make a reach to your son and catch up with him whenever I can when we know we're going to circle back with one another once a year.
Yeah.
Well, and I can speak to that too, following in my father's footsteps, and I'm grateful that mine was. I've always had a desire to do sales, and I sold shoes at Foot Locker prior to coming on board, but I worked my way up to assistant manager, telling older gentlemen what to do, and you just find a love of selling something and knowing how to sell that. And when I brought it to Empire, I never thought that I'd want to run towards that, but I did once I got to know what I was working on with my hands. Forget this, I want to sell it. So
yeah.
Very rewarding. I'm glad you told me that, because I didn't know Jimmy's beginning there. That had to be tremendously rewarding to have that experience and then step into what you folks do.
He went from a U.S. Steel multi-billion to a company that struggling to make payroll every other week. So he brought the experience from U.S. Steel and being pampered to now having to physically do it himself.
Yeah.
But the experience at U.S. Steel really helped him figure it out quite quickly.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Good.
It was good.
So, not to pick on you for longevity in the saddle, but you've seen a lot of people come and go in this industry. Who's been a great asset to you? Who's been almost mentor-like to you along the way? There's been some good personalities I'm sure you've shared some time with.
The first name you have to say Ron Volk. Ron Volk and I, Ron just passed away 7 months ago. Yeah. Ron, we knew each other 45 years ago. He was a competitor. I tried to sell product to him. We worked together at Emerald, then he came to work for us at the end. And, Ron brought integrity. He brought honesty. And the other thing, Ron was a great sounding board for Jimmy. So a lot of times when after a while, father and son can't talk about everything all the time. And Ron was a great mediator to get in there and say, okay. And then he worked with Jimmy. But Ron he loved the business. He was a true American. He was a good Christian guy and didn't believe in anything that wasn't right. And so he had a big influence. I had, when I went with the leader company and the Swiss company, we had 3 or 4 of the Swiss guys who sort of took me under the wing and wanted to make sure that, I guess I probably wouldn't leave, but wanted to make sure that we understood that. And they put a lot into educating myself with product, and it was more of not a training as much as it was a personal one-on-one. So the Swiss people helped me a whole lot. And then, throughout, there's always others who, Clarence Donaldson, who passed away several years ago, who taught me how to sell into textile industry. Yeah. Jeff Kurz, who was at Emerald, who was Mr. Bakery, so you'd pick his brain for that. But there was always someone there that would, if you go down the road to Salinas, to Green Rubber, John Green Sr. was one of the first guys I ever worked with in this business.
Oh, no kidding.
Got in a car, and he was still with another company. And he was awful young, and I was younger. And we started a relationship that's 50 years old.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know how far back that went. That's great.
Yeah, so, there's always someone that has a little influence here and there, a lot. But, Ron's the one that really stands out because we just did so many things together.
Yeah. Well, and how rewarding to have him working with you at the end,
Yeah. No, it was just a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a whole lot of fun because we'd put a plan together, we'd execute it, and say, wow, look what we did. No one ever thought you could do that.
Yeah.
And we did. So it was fun.
That's awesome. Okay, we're not always selling belt. we gotta tune it out sometimes and go do what's fun. What's rewarding for you when you're not picking up the phone or doing what we do?
And it's in phases because as you have kids growing up, your life is just up in the air all the time. But right now, we travel. My wife and I travel. I wouldn't say a lot, but 3 or 4 weeks a year we do that. I have 4 great grandkids. One's 17, who's going to be a senior in high school next year. And then I have a very ornery 6-year-old who is in kindergarten, and 3 girls and 1 boy. And I devote a lot of my free time to those guys. When I'm not doing that, as you've been in the game and you've dealt with people all your life, I live on a farm, I'm very happy to not talk to anyone from Friday night till Monday morning. So you ready for this? I cut and bale hay on the farm.
Okay.
I'm not very good at it, but I cut and bale hay, and that's been the last 4 or 5 years. I was looking for something to do when I retire and all this and that, but I just enjoy the solitude. I enjoy making a perfect round bale.
Yeah.
I know that's goofy, but I enjoy. And then I enjoy dumping one that doesn't roll away. So I do that. But I'm a homebody, and if it's me personally, I'm really I love fishing. But the grandkids every year stand out more and more. They really do. I enjoy that. I want them to enjoy some things, do some things, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Well, it's great when you can find the time to give them that. That's also for you, it's to kind of see the world all over again through their eyes.
Yeah. And boy, it's a totally different view, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's good. So, grandkids, cutting hay, try to fish in between.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I remembered something you had said when we were talking before coming into the studio some time back. I forget what I'd asked you about, and you said something. Well, selling belts the easy part. It's coming home, And you speaking to framework of your life and what when I ask you the loaded question of what you do in your free time, it's experience along the way.
You cannot let your job overtake you, and when you're young, you have the fear of losing your job, not making the house payment, not whatever. And I get that, but you have to, and I preach it to my son right now. He's at that age where, take the afternoon off and go golfing. You've got to get out of here. And sometimes it takes a long time to learn that. Other people learn it quickly, but you cannot let your job consume all your time, or it's not good for you healthy. For your health, it's not good for your relationship with your wife. It's not good with anything. My wife, I can say 2 words to her and she'll say, how bad was it today? You just can't let your job overtake what is really important.
Yeah. Yeah, working to live, not living to work.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that to the bank.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's valuable. I want to say I've touched on everything. I want to dig more, but I always come up with a fascinating question along the way to try to stir things. So here goes. what was your dream job as a child? It couldn't have been conveyor belting.
Nope. I was going to be the next J. Edgar Hoover.
You were?
I was going to go to criminology at Indiana University of Indiana, and I was going to be Secret Service, FBI. I was going to hunt down every bad guy in the country, and I was going to hunt him down relentlessly. I mean, that was. I just thought that was the neatest thing.
Yeah.
To be a good guy.
Yeah. Bring people to justice.
Yeah. You know what? You did wrong, buddy. You're mine. So that was my dream job. As a side, I thought I could be a good real estate salesman.
Okay.
But then I realized that's a lot of weekend work, and I'm not into. But no, that was my dream. When I was a kid, that was my dream.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, I haven't told many people that, so.
Okay, well, you're telling everybody now, buddy. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, here I found the belt industry. I thought I was just gonna. I don't know what I was gonna do. And for me, my father kind of, he basically sat me down and told me, hey, I need somebody I can trust, and it took off from there. And figured why not learn a few things in this industry, and as I kept growing with it became easier and easier to do the sales part, learn the intimacies of how it comes together, and I love having. What I love about our industry, and maybe you find it equally as valuable, is there's always something new, or always trying to figure out something different, a different application and how it's done. Belt people are the last people that they come to when they're building the system. So we're always trying to resolve on the back end, it would seem. But I like that it's always rewarding to try to go through the figure out.
Yeah, I agree, and the figure out, but just when you do it, and sometimes it's something very simple. Sometimes you just have to stop and think a little bit. But when you do it, that the guy looks at you and says, wow, you just saved us $15,000 a day or whatever. You think, wow, really? Was that easy?
Yeah.
But then that same guy, for the next 2 years, will call you with every problem. And then when he leaves that company and goes to company B, you're the first guy he calls. So, that's what we do. That's what we get paid for.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and even in that networking, you could be talking to the simplest of people involved in the processes, and you never know what rungs they'll climb in a business.
Exactly.
I've been shown respect when I didn't know anything, and not that I'd earned it. It's something that I felt, it's certainly given to you, but I did have to earn it, whether I knew it or not. And as I've gone through, I've dealt with people at the bottom end of a plant, pushing a broom to all of a sudden next, running the next shift. And
exactly, yeah.
And I've found a great deal of reward watching people grow around me, and that's what I get to continue doing this. So, Vernon, thank you. I really appreciate you sitting down with me today.
We appreciate the opportunity. It was fun.
No, there's stories in this industry, and I'm sure you've told your story in bits and pieces here around a room and in different venues and stuff like that. And I'm glad you shared it with me here today.
No problem. Enjoyed it.
Well, with that, I'd like to thank George at New Wave Studios for helping make this happen. I'd like to thank my viewing audience. I've had, gone a little more public with this and had some positive feedback. There's a lot of people in this industry that have found the rewards in it, and I'm just grateful to keep sharing it, so that's what I'll do. I bid you guys a good day. Take care.